Hello world! A cyber attack has knocked offline fuel stations across Iran, causing chaos. Ironically, this comes just a couple months after it was leaked that Iranian state-sponsored hacker group Intelligence Team 13 was allegedly researching into blowing up fuel stations in the West, but more on that in a bit. This new hack targeted a system of government-issued smart cards which Iranians use to buy subsidized fuel. When people tried to buy fuel, they instead received a weird message on the pump's display, simply reading 64411. I realise the image is grainy as hell. I did search for something higher res to no avail, but if you look closely, you can make out the Persian equivalent of 64411. As for the significance of this number, it's the phone number for the office of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Billboards have also been targeted displaying the message, "Khamenei, where's our gas?" Pictures have been plastered across social media, putting into perspective the anarchy this has caused in the last few days. Evidently, this hacking campaign is politically motivated. Now, I can't pretend to know much about the internal politics of Iran. Keeping up with that of my own country is a challenge in of itself. My analysis on the motive behind this campaign extends only so far as to say whoever is responsible for this infrastructural denial of service attack is not very fond of the Ayatollah. Though the question remains, who is behind this? Abdul Hassan Firuzabadi, the secretary of the Supreme Council of Cyberspace in Iran, has said there is a possibility that the attack, like a previous one on the railway system, has been conducted from abroad. That railway system attack was carried out in July this year. Hackers posted fake messages about train delays and cancellations on boards at stations. In that crusade, the number 64411 also played a part. A message on Billboard said, "Long delays due to cyber attacks. More information 64411," obviously prompting passengers to DDoS the Supreme Leader's phone number. That cyber attack also took down the website of Iran's Ministry of Roads and Urbanization, displaying this screen across their computers. The railway attack in particular was attributed by checkpoints to a group calling themselves Indra. The attribution wasn't hard to make, as railway computers' lock screens were changed to this, making crystal clear who helmed the attack. Indra typically targets companies who cooperate with the Iranian regime, especially with the Quds Force and Hezbollah. Though, back to the fuel hack, the BBC is reporting a group going by the name Predatory Sparrow is behind the campaign. Predatory Sparrow claims they found a vulnerability which could pave the way for much more significant damage to gas pumps, but in order to avoid very long-term damage, they decided not to use it and instead reported it to the vendor. They also say they tried to limit damage to emergency services by informing them of the attack in advance. However, I'm a little dubious of Predatory Sparrow. That's a new name, not known to the interwebs before this hack, and whilst it could be a newly hatched group, the only evidence, if you could even call it that, are a few Telegram messages posted by a BBC journalist on Twitter. Regardless of the group behind the hack, the fact this happened to Iran of all countries is a little ironic. I recently made a video on leaked secret documents said to be authored by the Iranian state-sponsored hacker group Intelligence Team 13, which detail Iran's research into cyber attacks targeting fuel stations in Western countries. The documents weren't codified plans, but more so a kind of white paper of what could be targeted and how it could theoretically be done. The leaked papers focus on a system known as an automatic tank gauge, which tracks the flow of fuel at fuel pumps. The report details how this system has the ability to cut off the fuel supply or change its temperature. It went on to say, an explosion of these fuel pumps is possible if these systems are hacked and controlled remotely. I don't think there's any link between these documents and the recent cyber attack. I just find it a little ironic that Iran was supposedly pondering how to attack Western fuel stations, only to have their own ones pwned. Those classified files also discussed how it may be possible to sink cargo ships by hacking into them and interfering with the ship's ballast tanks. I'll make sure to leave a link to my video on the leaked files in the description. Iran has a long history of being the victim of Western cyber attacks. Stuxnet comes to mind. Also in 2019, the US supposedly launched a cyber attack against Iran in response to Iran's bombing of Saudi oil fields. We don't know much about that attack other than it took aim at Tehran's ability to spread propaganda, but Iran denies the hack even happened. Also, Satonic.com is now a thing. I'll be uploading all my future videos there alongside a short written article accompanying each video. There will also be a link to watch my content on the alternative video platform library. You can also read about what I get up to when I'm not making YouTube videos, for instance the pen testing tools I sell through my company Maltronics. This video is sponsored by RoboForm. The easiest thing you can do to level up your security is use a password manager. RoboForm keeps your passwords encrypted until you need them, and notifies you if any of your passwords have been included in a data breach, helping you stay secure. RoboForm is one of the OGest password managers. They've been around since the 90s. I also use them myself. Use the link in the description to grab 30% off an annual subscription, bringing it to just $16, and there's a 30-day refund policy if you aren't happy with RoboForm for any reason. If you enjoy this kind of video, make sure to help me out by tickling the like button for the YouTube AI, as well as turning on them sub notifications. If you want to see what goes on behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on the Instagrams. I'm at Jonty. I will of course link it in the description. And if you're looking for something to watch next, go check out my previous video on how the FBI hacked and shut down the Revel ransomware gang. As always, sources will be linked in the video description. Stay tuned for more hacking videos, and have a good one.